All right, we're going to do Hamlet. This is chapter one. The ghost appears. So, has this thing appeared again tonight? Horatio asked the two men on watch. Marcellus shook his head and said, I've seen nothing. Last night, Bernardo began. Silence, Marcellus said. Look, here it comes again. And just as before, looking like the dead king of Denmark, Bernardo added, Speak, tell us who you are, Horatio called out. But the ghost turned and disappeared in silence. What do you think now, Horatio? Bernardo asked. Did we only imagine this ghost? You're right, it looked exactly like the king. It even had on the armor he wore when he went to war against old Fortinbras of Norway. We must tell young Prince Hamlet about this. Before Horatio could find the prince, Hamlet's mother questioned him in front of the king. Why are you still in such a black mood? You cannot continue to grieve for your dead father. Everything that lives must die. You must understand that. I do understand, Hamlet said, but I will not hide my feelings. You're a good son to grieve for your father, King Claudius said, but now it is time to put your dark mood aside and be of good cheer with us. Hamlet stared at his mother and uncle as they left the room. How could she do this rotten thing? He moaned softly. My father has been dead less than 2 months, and my mother has married his brother. Claudius is not half the man my father was. How could she not? How could she be so weak? I cannot bear to think of it. At that moment, Horatio and Bernardo entered the room. Hamlet's black mood lifted when he saw his friend. After they had spoken for a few minutes, Horatio said, My friend, I think I saw your father last night. Hamlet's eyes grew wide. My king? My father? The king? Horatio nodded and told the prince how the ghost had appeared. I'll stand watch with you tonight, Hamlet said. If the ghost walks again, I will speak to it. All is not well when a dead man's ghost appears. I fear he lost his life because of foul play. That night, Hamlet joined Horatio and Marcellus at their post. It wasn't long before Horatio grabbed Hamlet's arm and pointed, Look, here it comes. Look, it comes. Hamlet stared at the ghostly figure in armor, not daring to believe his eyes. Tell us, father, King Hamlet, why have you come? The ghost raised one hand and waved for Hamlet to follow him. Don't go, Horatio said quickly. I must. He will not speak here. Hamlet said. He followed the figure into the fog, leaving Horatio and Marcellus behind. Let's follow him, Marcellus said. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Horatio shook his head. I think it's out of our hands. Suddenly, along the way, the ghost stopped. It turned to Hamlet. I don't have much time. Daylight will soon be upon us. You must listen to what I have to say. Speak, then, Hamlet said. You must revenge the killing of your father, the ghost told him. Killing? A killing most foul, the goat said. The story told is that I was sleeping in my garden when a snake bit me. All of Denmark believes this. But know this, the snake that took my life now wears my crown. My uncle? Yes, my brother took my life, and my wife as well. The ghost looked around and drew closer to Hamlet. Morning is near. I must tell you my story quickly, it whispered. As I took my afternoon nap, your uncle crept into the garden carrying a bottle of poison. He poured the poison in my ear. A deep, stinging hurt filled my body at once. It was terrible. If you have any love for me yet, Hamlet, I urge you to take revenge for this awful act. But do no harm to your mother. Let heaven take care of her. Now, I must go. Remember me. The ghostly figure disappeared, and Hamlet stared amazed at what he had just been told. Remember you? Hamlet thought. Of course, I will take revenge as you urge. At that moment, Horatio and Marcellus came toward him. What happened? Horatio asked. You will not believe what I've learned, Hamlet said. Tell us, his friend urged. I cannot, Hamlet said, and you must promise never to tell anyone what you have seen here tonight. We won't, answered both men together. Hamlet raised his blade. Promise that even if I act a bit mad at times, you'll keep silence about this night. Horatio and Marcellus were alarmed at Hamlet's strange words, but gave their promise. And that is chapter one. Hamlet's dad has been murdered by his uncle, and his uncle is now the king who married his dad's wife, which is his mom. So his mom is married to his uncle. Yes, welcome to Shakespeare, to the 1500s. So he's got to revenge the killing of his father, but King Claudius is in a very powerful position. His mom is Queen Gertrude, and he's got to come up with some kind of plan. So that's the story. So I'm going to stop here. That is chapter one.